Size is not an indicator of health before you comment, just a reminder. Are you really sure about that? Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. Now we're going back into r/Fatlogic because honestly I could use the motivation myself. And if you would like to help support the channel in getting to 30,000 subscribers, be sure to slam the subscribe button if you have not already. Alrighty, let's get right into this. Turns out my life purpose isn't to be as small and silent and accommodating as possible. Stop demonizing #obesity. We need to demonize the socio-economic deprivation, stress, mental health illness, and the diet industry, which is causing people's health to be effective. This isn't a weight issue, it is a well-being crisis. We need to invest in well-being, not dieting. Making fun of people for their weight, yeah, that is definitely something we don't need, but we also don't need the other end where people are demonizing people who are eating healthy and trying to live a good, happy, healthy life. We all need to learn to let people be happy with where they are, but don't throw other people under the bus just because they're not where you are. Shut up, get the frick out. This is not the spirit of the sub, nor is it accurate in any way. America has an education problem and almost no doctor in rural areas where obesity cares about body positivity, which they should, since fatphobia, as you call it, leads to unhealthy behaviors like fasting and dieting. Yes, because dieting is an unhealthy behavior. Wasn't the body positivity movement originally for people who are have burn scars and stuff that they physically are unable to change? It only works for the average person. If you have an unusual body makeup, it is a bit off. For example, I am 175 centimeters, about 5'9", but I have shorter legs than my 14-year-old daughter, who is about 5'3". With tiny legs like mine, it makes BMI off. If you're very muscular or extremely fit like a top athlete, it also goes wrong. When I was a competitive swimmer at 18, I was about 78 kilograms and officially overweight with a BMI of about 25.5. I was just muscle and bone and very thin. If I remember correctly, BMI is a rather inaccurate way to measure body mass because you can have a person who's 200 pounds but 200 pounds of muscle and 200 pounds but 200 pounds of fat, and they would still have the same BMI, and that's where the inaccuracy comes from. However, there are more accurate ways to do this, like the DEXA scan, which in addition to measuring bone mass and bone density, it also does the same for your body fat percentage, which is more accurate than just going by a BMI chart. It's alright to blame diet culture. Hey everyone, I see a lot of posts on this subreddit from people really upset with themselves and upset with their willpower when it comes to eating. I wanted to chime in and say, it's not your fault if keto or intermittent fasting or paleo doesn't work for you, and it's okay to blame those diets or diet culture for setting you back. To paraphrase intuitive eating, if you were on a heart medicine that worked for 2 weeks and then had a 70% chance of not working, you wouldn't blame your body, you'd blame the medicine. Your body needs food, and it's okay to let it eat certain types of food. Being gentle with yourself will make your journey easier. Want to lose weight? Add these foods to your morning diet. Whoever made this article could have worded it differently, like add these foods to your breakfast instead of these other things. Like instead of adding a banana on top of a bowl of Lucky Charms, you go with the banana instead of the bowl of Lucky Charms. I haven't had that cereal in years, however, it's still my favorite. Society has different views on people overweight, like food is the only culprit of being fat. While there are many other factors that play into somebody gaining weight, it could be a bad sleep schedule, a stress from something you do at work, or an outside source, but there is also food being the majority of it, and unfortunately some of those other things lead to food, so food is kind of like a central catalyst. I do know one thing that definitely helped me back when I was losing weight and actually did that whole 70-pound loss. I carried around a gallon of water, and whenever I felt hungry, I drank that instead, because sometimes you get the whole feeling hungry mixed up with being thirsty. A gallon a day helped the pounds go away. Skinny people will really be like, yikes, you were bullied to the point where you hate running, eating, laughing, and existing in public for fear of being made fun of or viewed as disgusting simply because you're fat and had to scrape out your own self-worth because people constantly reminded you that they think being fat is the worst thing you could possibly be. And yes, you never saw yourself represented in media except as the butt of a joke. And yes, you still despise clothing shopping because you never get to wear anything cute made for people your age, because trendy fashion is almost always made for skinny people, and yes, people on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter take all the clothes in your size to make their two-piece sets, making it even harder to find things that you like that fit you, and you've had diet culture pushed on you since you were a kid, but people used to wrap their thumb and pointer around my wrist, so I'm the victim here, really? Just goes to show that regardless of your size, people will still make fun of you. If you're really skinny in high school, yeah, people are gonna make fun of you. If you're really fat, people are just gonna make fun of you because you're different. The best thing you can do is be happy with yourself and push yourself forward, because as soon as you leave high school, they are gone for good. Or at least in most cases, yeah. Otherwise, if they try to follow you around in public, there's a lovely thing called restraining order. Bullies suck and then go raw dog cactus. Fat shaming and skinny shaming are not the same. Although skinny shaming is awful, it is not systemic. You're not discriminated against in the media, clothes industries, and employments for being skinny. Okay, just in general, don't expect something to apply only one way to you. And this goes for a lot of things. If you can dish something out, be prepared to take it. Dear thin privileged women, stop distorting your body to show your roles. That isn't what your body actually looks like. You slouching get called brave for showing imperfections. Fat women have roles all the time, and they get called gross and told they should be ashamed. I'm fairly certain this was somewhat in response to one of those posts where they show how filters on Instagram work. Seriously, it's 2020. How do you not know that most overweight people have health conditions that caused it? I had this happen to me personally, and then showed someone the WebMD for the thyroid condition I have. They never mentioned it again. I have a thyroid condition too. I feel like I have to constantly tell people that your weight doesn't mean you make unhealthy choices. Oh, speaking of that definition, most of the extra weight gained from hypothyroid individuals is due to excess accumulation of salt and water. Massive weight gain is rarely associated with hypothyroidism. In general, 5 to 10 pounds of body weight may be attributed to the thyroid depending on the severity of the hypothyroidism. So in general, yes, you're going to gain a little bit of weight if you have a thyroid issue because you're going to be retaining water, but that does not mean you're going to wind up like the people on My 600-Pound Life. And for those of you wondering, yes, it is an actual show on TLC. Skinny shaming isn't the same as fat shaming because skinny people will never lose out on opportunities, careers, relationships, friendships purely because of their size. It has nothing to do with personal insecurities. It's how fat people are viewed by society as a whole. You know, you would kind of think when two different terms share half of their letters in the same word, you would at least think it would be a ballpark. But nope, completely different thing. When we talk about being fat positive and we say weight is not an indication of health, I will reblog it. But I want us to also say health is not an indication of value. I could be at any weight and I will never be healthy because I am chronically ill. Someone might be chronically ill and fat, or they might be chronically ill and not fat, and it really doesn't matter. When you make it about health, you're saying health is the pinnacle of human achievement, and you're shotting on those of us for whom health will always be a pipe dream. Being fat and happy with your body is 10 times healthier than dieting to be skinny because other people tell you you'll be more attractive. Thin people, do not derail this post. Alright, well I'm chalky, so here we are. Stop trying to fix your body. It was never broken. Tell that to the people who have to rent scooters at Disney World. And I'm not talking about the elderly. If it bothers you so much, just lose weight. No, the problem is not my weight. The problem is that skinny people don't treat me with baseline human dignity and respect because of my weight. You can't look at a body and see health or lack of health. What you believe you can see is steeped in your own bias and stigma and judgment. Well, I know for a fact that if a skinny person takes off their shirt and they have stretch marks and excess skin, that means that they've come a long way. So they definitely worked hard for something and they deserve all the good things that come to them when you reach that goal. I know I lost some after the first time I took my shirt off after I lost this weight, and I'm honestly expecting even more now because I bounced back. Y'all who support Fatphobia are like naturally skinny and shot 6 times a day, or you just like to randomly harass folks. We get it, man, like shut the frick up. Is the definition for the word fatphobia literally you being scared of fat people? Because I feel like there might be a mix-up in the definition for everybody. How thin privilege showed up, being able to shop in any store. fitting in a seat on a plane or bus, not being held personally responsible for illness, being viewed as fit and healthy even when you're not. Hey y'all, so I got info yesterday that I'm diabetic, near the threshold but still official. I posted it in a couple of health at every size specific groups asking for advice other than counting carbs, which I will not do. Got a lot of comments about counting carbs, sigh. I shouldn't have to explain my eating disorder history for a health at every size group to respect what I say, but there it is. There's even some evidence of studies showing that for people with type 2 diabetes, counting carbs doesn't even affect long-term numbers, so I don't feel like it's some kind of sin to ask for advice apart from counting carbs feeling tired. But you do know that carbs play a good portion in weight gain, right? Carbs are the stuff that gives you energy, and if you don't burn that off, it gets stored as fat. Health benefits of pizza: joy, happiness, smiles, family time, quality tomato sauce, it might as well be your fruit part of it, freshly grated cheese is your dairy, and your whole gang crust is your grains. It is a vegetable, and that logic is undeniable. Technically, it's a handheld salad. However, for me, I like myself a meat lover salad. No one who is old enough to read this should be setting calorie goals that start with the number 1, 0 humans. So it's either we're all saying that we can't read, in which this whole post defeats its own purpose because we can't read its own post, or you need to be setting your toddler up with a minimum of 2,000 calories a day. Who shouldn't be eating 1,200 calories per day? People whose target weight is 100 pounds and are about 5 feet tall, children ages 2 to 4, sedentary elderly people who have lost muscle, age-related sarcopenia. Who shouldn't? Moderately active adults who are around average height and weight? So you're saying that because they have the ability to burn off excess calories, they should not be able to take in excess calories.
Right.
A lot of skinny people need to learn something. You're not better, more attractive, or higher than any fat person solely because you're skinny. You're not healthier because you're skinnier. You also, as a skinny person, do not have a right to fat bodies because you've deemed us an easy. You do not get to know our number. You do not get to know our size. You do not know anything about us other than the fact that we are fat. People see a fat body and assume it's unhealthy. They do not consider A, that body is working on whatever it wants for itself, whether it's losing weight or not, B, eating disorders, C, that there could be mental causes, and finally, D, it's none of their business anyways, because a person's fatness does not affect you. You can ridicule us, you can try to tear us down. Just so you know, I think you're weak for it. Peace. Okay, hold on, we're not gonna gloss over this one real quick. Explain to me where all the 400+ pound Olympic athletes are. I'm all for confidence. I'm all for you feeling comfy as you are. If you want to change yourself though, you can do it and you can make an effort. And if we want to, there will be people more than willing to help you along the way if you don't feel as confident in yourself to make that effort. But at the same time, don't bash somebody just because their MO isn't the same as yours. And this goes both ways for skinny and fat people. Honestly, just in general, it applies to everything. Don't bash people because they're different. For anyone who needs the message, diets don't work. In something like 98% of the cases, the weight is back in a couple of years, often more since it messes up your metabolism. Wellness and clean eating is just diet culture repackaged. It's a capitalist scheme trying to get you to spend $15 on kale. It is not healthy behavior. Intermittent fasting is behaviorally the same as my eating disorder was for long periods of time. It is not healthy behavior. Keto is harmful for your body, except in a few cases of epilepsy. It is not healthy behavior. Is it a binge or are you just hungry? I managed to eliminate nearly all of my emotional binges by just eating more. Please take care of yourself. Ask for help if you need it. You have permission to eat. You don't need anyone's permission to eat. You are in control. Okay, but didn't you just talk about an eating disorder earlier? Oh wait, literally the one before. You are beautiful and worthy of love and kindness. And with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If If you would like what you would see and you want to show your support for the channel, be sure to slam the like button, and if you have not already, subscribe to the channel. Also, I just want to have a message to anybody that's had any concerns about me talking about doing this subreddit in a while. I do not plan on doing any posts related to anything saying, hey, look at this fatty, whatever. No, that is something I am not up for. That is basically bottom line school bullying, and I am not for that whatsoever. I want this to be a motivational subreddit for myself. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.